Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. This is the fifth of 6 training tapes dealing with block below the waist. Today we're looking at blocks committed, if you will, by the defense. So we're looking at defensive blocks below the waist, and we'll look at where can they do it, when can they do it, and we'll have a look at some plays and talk about that. But before we get that far, let's have a look at what the rulebook and the MOFO have to say on the topic. In the rulebook, we start with 232 by defining block below the waist. A block below the waist is a block in which the force of the initial contact is below the waist of an opponent who has one or both feet on the ground. When in question, the contact is below the waist. B, a blocker who makes contact above the waist and then slides below the waist has not blocked below the waist. If the blocker first contacts the opponent's player's hands at the waist or above, it is a legal above the waist block. Rule 916 deals with block below the waist, and for this training tape, B1 is relevant. Team B prior to a change of team possession. It says, players of Team B may block below the waist only within the area defined by lines parallel to the goal line, 5 yards beyond and behind the neutral zone, extended to the sidelines. To be legal, this block must be directed from the front. Blocking below the waist by players of Team B outside this zone is illegal except against the ball carrier. In the MOFO, we start with section 3.3 contact fouls. 4 deals with blocking below the waist, and B says, for the first 3 seconds after the snap, when in question, the ball has not left the tackle box. Thereafter, when in question, the ball has left the tackle box. And E goes on to say, remember that it is the direction related to the opponent's area of concentration, not the point of contact, that determines whether a block below the waist is directed from the front or not. And finally, when in doubt principles, 45 says a block below the waist occurred before, not after, the ball left the tackle box. And that was the book. Now let's have a look at some game film. In this first example, we're looking at the defensive end closest to the camera. He's going to block the fullback low. Perfectly legal, and we'll see why. So this is certainly line of scrimmage is the +1. This happens in the backfield within the 5-yard belt, and it is certainly 10-2, pretty much 12 o'clock. So he fulfills both requirements for the defensive low box. So this is a legal block. Again, we're looking at the defensive end closest to the camera, and she is going to block the pulling guard. And again, this happens right at the line of scrimmage. This is clearly a 12 o'clock block. So again, this is a perfectly legal block. Now, who's going to see this? Referee might see this, umpire might see this, wing at the bottom might see this. So as long as somebody picks this up and we know that this is a legal block, we're in good shape. Here we're looking at the linebacker on the other side of the umpire, B40. But before we do, let's just go through the belt. So the ball is the line of scrimmage is the 35, which means that the belt, so to speak, where the defense can low block is between the 30 and the 40. So 5 yards down and 5 yards up from the line of scrimmage. And if we're looking at the linebacker here, the guard is going to shoot out, and the linebacker is going to go low. So this is inside the belt, and this one also is perfectly legal because it is in the 10-2 region. So again, we have a legal block, and hopefully the umpire will have a chance to look at this. You know, it's difficult for the referee center judge to see stuff like this when it happens beyond the line of scrimmage. So hopefully the umpire here, the deep wings or the back judge may be able to get involved, but this happens very quickly and very close to the line of scrimmage. So I would say probably the umpire or maybe one of the wings might be able to help. But in any case, a legal block. Different game, but same linebacker. This time he's lined up closest to the camera, and B40, and he's going to shoot out and take out the running back. And again, this certainly is within the 10-yard belt. And again, I think this is from the front. So again, here we have an example of a legal block, and as it is the fullback, I think I would expect the wing at the bottom of the field to see this. Maybe the umpire will have a chance since it's in his area. I would also expect the referee or the center judge to have an idea, simply because this is a running back that's coming up to potentially do pass protection, and referees, center judges, they need to know what their running backs are doing in this type of situation. But again, you know, this is a legal low block by B. We're looking at B27, the linebacker here on the left. And this is an interesting play because, first of all, this is within the 5-yard belt, so we're good there, or the 10-yard belt. It is also 10 to 2. You see how the offensive player falls forward, indicating that the block was from the front and not from the side. But also, let's just say that this had happened outside of the 10-yard belt. It's a good illustration of a situation where the defense actually can go low if they're trying to get to the ball or the runner. And in this case, I think this applies here because he is trying to go through the blocker to the runner. He almost gets the runner too, but so even if this had happened outside of the 10-yard belt, this would still be a legal block because of this exception, where if you're going for the ball or the runner, you are allowed to block low as a defensive player. But in any case, this is a legal low block by the defense. In this example, we're looking at B24, the cornerback here closest to the camera. And typically what's going to happen if we have a cornerback against a lineman, what's he going to do? He's going to go low. That's really the only tool he has in his toolbox right now. So expect that if you're a deep wing or anybody who's covering this area, and you see a big lineman and a cornerback, and the lineman is honing in, expect the defensive guy to go low. Line of scrimmage is the 25 here, and the potential contact is at the 31. So this is outside of the 10-yard belt. So any low blocks by the defense, unless he's trying to go for the runner or the ball, will be illegal. In this situation, I think we can pass on this simply because it looks like the only contact there really is the offensive player's hands on the defensive player. It doesn't really look like the defensive player makes any contact, but it certainly would be a good situation for talkback and to let him know that he can't go low like that more than 5 yards down the field. But again, be aware of this and recognize that this is going to happen when you have offensive linemen and defensive backs. In this last example, we're looking at the cornerback closest to the camera, and again, this is fairly obvious what he's going to do when we have a pulling lineman going after a cornerback like this, what is the cornerback going to do? He's going to go low, and luckily he does it legally here. He does it within the 10-yard belt, and he does it 10 to 2. You see how the offensive lineman falls forward. So this is a legal block. But as a deep wing, as a wing, once you see this pulling guard coming out, going for a defensive back, get ready for this action and get ready to rule on this, both in terms of where it happens and how it happens, so that we don't get surprised and we can call these correctly. And that was the training tape. I hope you found something you can use on the field.